Day up and chimping, they'll fin a chimp out. Hip hop and pimping, they'll shift you from clouds. Going to get triggered if nigger you shout. See how they always chimping out. Then Chud the builder said stop lying down. Don't let them kill you and take all your town. They'll slash your sister, then walk cause they brown. See how they always chipping out. Don't got much reason and a frontal cortex. Your mother is next. If you resist, you're racist. In California, they're welfaring around. See how they always chipping out. It ain't no colors that's defining use. We're all just fellas, we all get to blues. It ain't black versus white, we've been divided by Jews. Oy vey, they show us schwarzen outs. Just see Calergy cackle with glee. Your family trees, leaves grow, Negro. Now California's spreading around. See how they always, see how they always, see how they always chimping out.
What is up, fellas, and welcome to another episode of PolitiGoob with me, the Goob. Sorry as I struggle with, there we go. I'm still getting used to OBS, but I do believe that my intro song was working. That's a fun song, isn't it? That song is by Foundring. You can find him in the description. I've got a link to his X and that song. He's just been censored off of YouTube yet again. But that's a fun song, and I appreciate him giving me permission to use it. This week, we've got a lot to cover. A lot of very important things to cover. Obviously, the first and foremost being Chud the Builder. We're also going to be talking about flock cameras, the court systems, data centers, and a few other things. But Chud the Builder is by far the most important thing this week. The inevitable happened, right? Everyone knew that this was going to happen, and it did. And it happened in a way much more favorably than it could have. This could have been much worse. Chud could be dead. The case could be less clear that this is obvious self-defense, but it really went about as well as something this horrible can go. It is critically important that everyone support Chud. I know last week, I apologize for last week's stream. I was experiencing some cognitive dissonance. I explained at the very beginning of the episode that I was struggling to organize my thoughts around Chud. And it's because, as I've said on this show many times, there is a difference between understanding and understanding something. And even though I understand that trying to play the optics game is a fool's errand, seeing Chud so blatantly risking his life made it all very real in a way that it wasn't before. And my understanding had to catch up to my understanding, if you will, right? And so, yeah, I was being a beta bitch talking about how I'm not sure if his optics are good. I want to make something very, very clear. The optics game is an absolute losing game, and it's literally mathematically impossible that the masses, that the majority, will ever take our side. It is mathematically impossible because we have, according to official statistics, 60% of the United States is white. I think it's probably a decent amount lower than that. Probably under 50, very possibly under 50% already. But even at 60%, a large portion of those whites are woke, and they want you dead. The left and the woke want you dead. There is all of the black Americans that want you dead. There are all of the third world invaders that want you dead. The Jews that want you dead. The Muslims that want you dead. It does not matter how pure your optics are. The purest optics in the world will never convince those people to join our side. They want you dead, and the optics don't fucking matter, right? If you were the Truman Show director, if you had control of a small city, you had absolute director control over everything, and you could manufacture the most optically pure scene to have ever existed, it would not sway these people. The masses would not join our side. What matters is reaching the people who do understand and showing them that it is okay to fight back. It is okay to become radicalized. And I've got a few, examples. I think it's always helpful to highlight things with examples. Let's see if I can get the tech to work. I had to restart OBS at the beginning of the stream, and I was getting it to work earlier, and now it's not necessarily wanting to. Give me a couple. There we go. Okay. So you have people like this. I don't think the audio is working for this. I'm still struggling to figure out how to work OBS, so forgive me. I'll summarize what she's saying because I don't think you'll be able to hear it. But here you have a video, the body cam of a police officer. He's getting shot point blank by this guy. Point blank, shoots a cop. And then you have this woman coming out. She was in the courtroom. She watched the footage. And she is doing the most insane, if you could hear her, you could hear how much she's struggling to even formulate a sentence because she's doing these insane mental gymnastics to try and blame the cops and try and frame that man who point blank shot a cop as the victim because they shot him too many times. They fired off 20 rounds, and, the cops are really the ones who need to be questioned here, and he should just be let go and set free. You also have the woman recently who was attacked by a rabid nigger on the streets, and she ran to a cop who managed to save her. And she refused to press charges. And then a week later, he killed a guy. And she was interviewed, and she goes, I just didn't want to see another black man go to jail. Even when they are literally getting attacked on the streets, even when they are the personal, receptacles for this abuse, even when it is undeniably affecting them personally, they still want you dead. Not the niggers, not the people who are attacking them, who are destroying their way of life. There is does not matter how pure your optics are, these people want you dead. And that's not going to change by playing the optics game. The only way it might change is by radicalizing, is by becoming more visual, more vocal, more visual. That's not the exact word I'm looking for, but seeable. my brain's blanking on the word I want. Visible. There we go. More vocal, more visible. You need to be seen and heard. You need to be active in the streets. I'm going to be talking about censorship later as well, which is, another reason why it's very important to build locally and to build groups in your area, because there will be another wave of extreme censorship. The censorship never stopped, but it will get extreme again like it was in 2020, around the election, around COVID, around BLM. The big problem is that people don't believe a revolution is possible, and it is not possible, precisely because they do not believe it is possible. That's a quote from the great Ted Kaczynski, right? And that is the big problem we're facing. And the thing is, like I was just explaining, you're never going to get the masses on your side by playing the optics game. But you can get people like this. You can encourage people like this man here. Again, I apologize for the lack of audio, but this based Chad right here, he's an unapologetic, white nationalist. And these are the people that we need to reach. These are the people that we need to send a message to. The people who do get it, who do understand the existential crisis that we are facing, who do understand that if we do not stand up and we do not stop this, we will be genocided. Western nations will crumble, and Western ideals will cease to exist, and the entire world will suffer. These are the people that matter. These are the people we need to signal to. There's these kids here. By the way, just look at how much of a fucking Chad this guy is, right? And also take a look at Chud. Chud's a beefy motherfucker. He's a hunk. No homo. And that matters. That matters. In that way, optics too matter, right? You don't want to be a limp-wristed beta boy, soy boy faggot who's going out there. Doesn't look great. But when you look like this, get yourself in shape, boys. Learn how to throw a punch, right? But you need to be more visible. You need to be more vocal. You need to be more radicalized, more willing to stand with Chud, to defend Chud, to go create some agitation yourself. Because it is these people who need to see that there are other people willing to do that. And the more that you're willing to do that, the more other people will be willing to join you. And in the same way, I don't actually hate, maybe you guys hate me always bringing it back to trannies, but they're just such an easy thing to make an example out of, so I always go back to it. If you look, in our recent history, the last 10 years or so, at no point in time were trannies ever the majority. The majority never, no one even close to the majority accepted trannies. And yet, they have forced their way into our society. They have forced to be accepted by our society. They have broadly been accepted, even though internally most people are against them, because perception does matter. We are maybe the most herd-like of all herd animals, us humans. And it is seeing those radical people. The trannies were fully willing and are still fully willing to go out into the streets and punch anybody in the face who dares disagree with them. It is because of that energy, it is because of their radicalization that they were able to push these things onto our society. The more radical you become, the more accepted you become. We have seen this trend very clearly with the left. The more radical they become, the more people accept them, because we are herd animals. And most people are sheep, and most people are weak and cowardly, and they will follow wherever the power dynamics point them. And the trannies dominated the power dynamics quite effectively. And it is now time for us to dominate those power dynamics. It is time for us to go back into the streets and be unafraid and stand up and fight for our cause. Here's a couple of retards who are, walking in Chud's footsteps. I think you'll be able to hear the audio through my computer speaker being picked up by my computer mic. It's going to sound like shit, but I'm going to go ahead and play this and see just how shitty the audio is. It's a 1-minute clip. Here, let's take a listen. So you get the point. They're going, you chimping out. Are these guys retards? Probably. Is that a problem? No. Retard maxing is an effective strategy. You might consider doing a little bit of retard maxing yourself. We need more of this. There's like a critical mass, right? And there's different levels to this critical mass, right? So people who want to do something, who are desperate to do something, but feel like that Ted Kaczynski quote that they can't do anything because no one else will. The more they see this, the more they go, hey, I can do it too, and they'll participate. So there's a lower critical mass for those people, right? And then as those people start participating, other people who are on our side, right, who do recognize the threat we're facing, but maybe had never considered doing something in the past, they go, wow, look at all these people doing it. Maybe it is okay. Maybe I can join in too. And then that grows. And then eventually, just like with the trannies, it doesn't require a majority to force majority acceptance, right? But you can force majority acceptance with a sufficiently radicalized minority. And so that is what we must focus on building and fostering. And I do want to go back and talk a little bit about the Chud case specifically. You know, Slav is talking about it a bit in the chat. And from what I can tell, also, in fact, let me start with these clips from Chud. This is Chud. Again, I apologize for the lack of audio, but there are subtitles here, so you can at least read along. Let's see if I full screen it. Can you still see the subtitles? I think I might need to slide this up a little.
Problem for them is everybody's watching this, and we all see what's going on. I'm being persecuted for a law that does not exist. They're throwing bullshit charges at me to try to discourage me, to try to make me silence myself. Not going to happen. It's not illegal to say, look at this guy harassing my community behind me. Look at this guy causing an issue in my community. He's chimping out. Call him a hard R and say, get the fuck away from me. In fact, get out of my neighborhood. That's not illegal. You know what it is? It's frowned upon to the people who want to keep us silent long enough to where we just go extinct. They know that white people are a threat to this system that they have going today. They don't want us to rise up again. I won't give up. Keep it coming. I'm going to keep speaking my fucking mind. You see, the problem for them is...
And one more clip from Chud, real quick.
People asking, where's the Chud at, dude? Been working, it's Thanksgiving, and I've never gone out of my way to film any of the content that I've gone viral for, so I'm not going to start now. It's unfortunately just in my day-to-day travel path of everyday life, and when I see him chimping out, I up the camera, I shame him. I say, look, I'm not going to pretend this isn't a problem in my fucking community. Look at him, he's chimping out. They're chimping out. So, you know, that's really what the movement's about. You call them a nigger to their face and you go about your day-to-day life. This is America. You're not going to starve me. You're not going to kill me. You're not going to scare me into not exercising my freedom of speech. I'm going to push the envelope as much as I can. I'm not inciting violence. When they chimp out, I call them a chimp. Shut up, nigger, dumbass nigger. People out.
So, you know, I wasn't all that familiar with Chud. I hadn't really watched his content before last week's stream. I have checked out some of his content, and he actually was doing exactly what I recommend other people doing. He is not going up and just harassing random people. He's approaching people very calmly and asking them if they believe in free speech. And then, oh, am I down? I'm getting an error. Am I no longer live? I hope I'm still live. I'm going to keep going as if I am live. He is asking people if they believe in free speech and then saying, okay, so does that mean you believe that white people should be able to say nigger? Still live. Excellent. Thank you. Hopefully I'm still live on YouTube as well. That's the one that's given me the error. He's not just harassing people. He's not just like walking up and antagonizing people. He's not walking up and calling random black people niggers. He is, however, calling out bad behavior when he sees it, which is exactly what I suggest other people do. You don't have to, you know, turn this into a full-time career and do this all day, every day. But like when you do see fucked up shit, make sure you confront it. It's exactly what Chud's been doing. You're buffering. Yeah, hopefully the tech issues sort themselves out. And Chud, in this specific example, in what actually happened, he was coming out of the courthouse and he was recognized by this guy. This guy very likely was there specifically for Chud. Like, he was there seeking out Chud. He recognized Chud when he came out of the courthouse and was able to do so because the courthouse publicized the times Chud would be there. They publicized his home address. They are being extremely malicious in this case, and you can expect them to continue being extremely malicious. But Chud hadn't interacted with this guy at all. This guy recognized Chud from his streams, started pointing at him, started talking about him. So Chud approached him and walks up to him. The guy immediately tells him to go away. And so Chud does. He walks away and he gets 50, 60 feet away before the guy then starts approaching Chud again and starts talking all kind of crazy shit, going, I'm a vet, I've got PTSD, say that chimping out shit to me, motherfucker, see what happens, right? And then I think Chud probably did say something about chimping out. And the guy swung at him and attacked him. And Chud defended himself, he did shoot himself, but he shot the other guy. Immediately after, the part of the stream that is available is the immediately after. He shows concern for the guy. He's checking on him, asking if he's okay. As far as a clean, good shoot goes, legally speaking, not judicially speaking, right? Because the court systems have left the legal system long ago. They're divorced from each other now, right? But legally speaking, this is an extremely solid and obvious and clear-cut case of self-defense from Chud. And the implications, if Chud were to lose this case, is that black people are freely allowed to assault you for any offense, and you are not legally allowed to defend yourself. Now, this isn't exactly unique. You've got the story of the guy from Washington State who got stabbed by a random violent nigger. He's waiting at a bus stop. A nigger runs up to him, sprints at him, stabs him with a knife. And after getting stabbed, the guy calls him a nigger. And the jury acquitted him. No charges at all. Fully innocent. Because the racism retroactively justified the stabbing. He was right to stab him. The stabbing was in self-defense for racism that would happen in the future, right? So we're already sanity is totally out the fucking window in the court system. Horrible precedents have already been set. But this case is a very large case. It's a public case. It's a case that's going to get a lot of attention. And so it not only matters for setting a precedent in the courts, that's already fucked. But it's very important for the message it will send to the population. And again, to bring it back to trannies one more time, to maybe put this into a little bit better perspective, because there is such literally lifetime of conditioning to accept this kind of behavior and to think about this way when it comes to niggers. But the tranny stuff is new enough that maybe this will help put it into perspective. If a tranny comes up to you and goes, "It is ma'am," right? And you go, "Okay, sir," that is the same exact thing, effectively, that is happening. It's what this case is actually worse, which I'll get to in a second. But that's the same exact thing that this precedent for this case would be setting if Chud loses, is that you don't allow a tranny to compel your speech, and so they are legally allowed to attack you and assault you and probably kill you now, and you are not legally allowed to defend yourself. And it's even worse because, again, Chud didn't even say these things to this man. Chud walked away from this man. Chud was targeted, and I gotta stop calling him Chud. Dalton Etherly. Let's use his real name. He's a real person. Let's use his real name. Dalton Etherly was targeted by this man for things he had said to other people, for content he had seen online. So if you ever say anything that offends any minority group, any victim class, and they're offended by it, they can track you down in the real world and attack you, and they're justified in that attack, and you are not allowed to defend yourself. You have to support Chud. I'm not gonna be talking about that stuff for a minute. So let me put myself back full screen here while I talk. It is critically important that you support Chud. I have the Give, Send, Go link down in the description. I would, stronger than I've ever encouraged anything, I would encourage you to give what you can. You know, we're all in different financial situations, right? Some of you can probably afford to give some money and not have it affect you. Maybe some of you are living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you also have a little vice, right? Maybe you play video games, or you're a smoker, or you're a drinker, whatever the fuck it is. Maybe take a break from that vice. Maybe deal with some nicotine withdrawals for a month and send that money to Chud. If Chud can, Dalton, send that money to Dalton. If Dalton can risk his life and be brave enough to put himself through all of this for our sake, the least you can fucking do is deal with some nicotine withdrawals for a month and dedicate that money to Dalton instead of your vice, right? So do what you can. He's got a $1.125 million bond. And even ignoring the bond entirely, his legal expenses will be astronomical. He will need good lawyers. This is going to be a long and difficult fight. They are going to do absolutely everything they can to fuck him every single step of the way. If he ever does, get acquitted, and if justice is served, he'll never have a job again. He'll never live a normal life again. He will need our support forever, pretty much. So please do what you can to support him financially. I promoted the Cinnabon girl. I promoted the park girl, the one who called the kid a nigger at the park, because those were important too. Again, it's about reaching people that understand the threat we're facing. It's about sending them the signal that, hey, you're not alone. There are people that will stand with you. There are people that will defend their warriors, right? The left is incredibly good at defending their warriors. There were 5 Antifa people that were arrested at the Jake Lang event recently. Same day, every single one of them were bailed out, right? The left is very good at defending and supporting its warriors, and it is time for the right to start doing the same. So donate what you can, but also, if you are in the area, if you are in Tennessee, consider going out in front of the courthouse. If you've got friends, have you been building your support network locally? Do you have a group of friends that you could potentially roll up to the courthouse with some signs, do a little protest, show a little support? We need much more activism than we currently have. We need a level of support and activism that the right has not displayed so far, except for maybe January 6th, right? And that was a shit show for all kinds of reasons. But we need people on the streets. And it is crucially important that you build those friendships, that you build that community locally, because censorship is coming again. Censorship never left. A lot of people kind of, because they went so fucking hard during COVID, they went so fucking hard during the election, they censored so many people. I mean, it was crazy what they were doing, right? And so they backed off a lot. But they never stopped with the censorship. The censorship never went away. They've been just more selective, more precision, more focused with their censorship. It's still very alive and well. We are experiencing essentially the same level of censorship here in America that the Chinese face. Potentially, arguably, it's even worse here in America on a pure level playing field. And it's not a level playing field because in China, they know they're censored. The censorship is open. It's not like a secret. It's not like the Chinese people are walking around being like, no, we face no censorship. They're fully aware of it. And so they can kind of react accordingly, and they can build that into their mental model of, well, we know this is censored. We know people really think this, though. Whereas in America, a lot of people genuinely seem to believe that censorship is not a thing. It doesn't exist, or it's a very minor thing. People aren't aware of the level of the censorship that is happening. And so they don't respond accordingly. They don't have that mental adjustment. They think that what they see is actually what is representative of the opinions out there. It's not. It's a highly curated, censored selection of opinions, right? But the censorship will get worse. Probably within the next 2 years, probably before the next election. And maybe not. Maybe it'll be after, right? But there will be a time in the future, in the not too distant future, where there are more severe crackdowns, more extreme censorship, the massive purges, right? And a lot of people, if you only have these connections online, if your voice is only online, if it is not in the real world, if you don't have a support system in the real world, if you don't have friends that you can actually go out into the streets and send a message there, then you'll be completely neutered. All they have to do is click a button, and all that reach that you've worked towards building, everything, it just goes away. Just goes away. So it's crucially important. Find your friends, find your allies, build your own Proud Boys, join someone else's Proud Boys. I'm just using that as like a generic filler, whatever the fucking group name is, right? But like, start building. Start building. Start planning. I don't know what else can be done to support Chud. I would really love to see 1 million people march in Tennessee. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I don't think we're going to get 1 million people to march in Tennessee. But we should be trying to get everything we possibly can get and do everything we possibly can do. And if anyone has ideas, let me check the chat over here. Maybe you guys have some ideas for what we can do to help support Chud. Drop them in the chat. If you've got any ideas, I'll say them here on the show. Got a couple other things I wanted to show you. Let me just organize. So, yeah, let's show what's happening over in this Dutch town. Forgive me while I fidget here with my screen. There we go. Okay, so in a Dutch town of 9,000 people, it's been an open revolt for 3 days straight. The plan: drop 110 young male asylum seekers into Loosdrecht, a quiet commune that had zero say in the matter. And here's the response. They're fucking shit up. They're getting active. They're being visible. They're being vocal. They're radicalized. This is what we need. We need a hell of a lot more of this. They ultimately end up burning down. You can see the photo down below here. I guess it's a video as well. But yeah, look as the crowd watches the migrant center burn, where they were going to house these immigrants, these invaders. They blocked the fire trucks from getting to it. This is what we need more of. You can't do this and be like, oh, what about the optics? What about all of the opinions of the people who want me dead, who want to see this country destroyed, who would like the white race to be extinct? Yeah, the optics don't fucking matter to them. But what does matter is this. Does that give you some encouragement? Does that give you a little bravery? Does that go, man, I would love to see that here? We can. We can. Just takes more people to have some bravery like Chud. And I mean, not even necessarily his level of bravery, but more bravery. I don't expect, I don't demand, I don't ask people to be as brave as Chud is, to be as brave as Dalton was. What I do ask is to be more brave than you have been, right? Find your comfort level. Push your comfort level. Take it as far as you can, as far as you're comfortable with. Live right there on the edge and keep trying to push it a little further. Just try and be braver than you were yesterday. You don't have to be as brave as Dalton right this second. Just try and be braver than you were yesterday. This is in Amsterdam. This is what we can expect in our country, what we already have in our country. You already have Muslims completely taking over towns. You know, they're recently in New York, they're going out into the street in Times Square doing their fucking prayers, taking over New York Times Square. So, but these are enraged Muslims armed with sticks and planks are savagely beating white students at the University of Amsterdam. They're screaming that the Netherlands is now a Muslim country and that whites/non-Muslims have no place there anymore. In the UK, tens of thousands of white girls are raped every year by Muslims, and the Muslim rapists are protected by the police, protected by the politicians, and the rape victims are the ones who are persecuted by the law. They are the ones who face consequences for being raped, which is exactly how it works in Muslim countries under Sharia law. It's not been labeled as Sharia law yet in England, but that's exactly how it works. When a girl gets raped in a Muslim country, she's the one who gets punished. She is stoned for being impure, for having sex outside of marriage. She is the one who has sinned. And we've seen England fully embrace that. The rape gangs are fully defended and supported by the system in London. Tens of thousands of young girls raped every year. And that is, again, we're a large country, so we already have examples that are just as bad here. It's not systemically the response yet. In England, that is the standard response. You get raped, you are now a criminal, your rapist is now a victim. That's the standardized response in England. That hasn't been standardized here yet, but it is already happening here. And it will become the standardized response if we allow it to continue. And, you know, you have cases like the Charlottesville kid who drove through the crowd and the obese lady died, right? He was made an example of. Many of you probably don't even know the details of that case because it was so highly censored and manipulated. But what actually happened there is this kid accidentally ended up in the middle of this protest, this riot, this mob, whatever you want to call it. And when he turned the corner and he realized, oh, now I'm face to face with this mob, he immediately stopped his car. And he probably would have gotten out of there, but they immediately rushed his car. They all started screaming at him, pounding on his car, attacking him in his car. They started dragging barricades, you know, like road barricades, into the street and placing them behind his car and in front of his car, trying to barricade him in. And he still just sat there, doing nothing. And then a guy with an AK-47 started approaching him, and he still sat there doing nothing until the guy was less than 10 feet from his car, and he pointed that AK directly at his face. And that is when he finally accelerated through that crowd, trying to save his life because he was being threatened with imminent death. And he was given, I think it was usurped this past week, but at the time, he was given the longest prison sentence in the history of America. He was given more time in prison than anyone had ever gotten before. He was painted as this horrible racist Nazi who went out there to create mass casualties and slaughter these people with his car. It wasn't true at all, right? But they made an example out of him. And they do this for a reason, right? That is not yet the standard for everywhere in America. That treatment is not given to every white person in America yet, but we are moving in that direction. They create these cases where they make a national spectacle out of them, and they make an example of these people so that they can create a chilling effect, so that they can create and stoke fear, so that they can convince the people like us who get it, who do know what we're facing, to be afraid to go out and stand against it. It is actually much safer. You know, again, Dalton took things all the way. Everyone understood. Dalton himself understood the risk that he was putting himself in. Everyone knew that a bad outcome was inevitable for Dalton, and it's very unfortunate. But you can do things like... Where'd my fucking tabs go? I had tabs open that are no longer open. Okay. Well, I had some tabs of people, hanging signs, posting up stickers, being visible, being vocal, handing out pamphlets, things like that. You can do those things, and I think they have done a pretty good job with those cases like the Charlottesville case, where they make these extreme examples out of people, convincing people that, like, if you do anything, if you participate in activism at all, like, you're throwing your life away. You're not. There is a lot of space for activism still. Anytime you do participate in activism, you are taking a risk. Risk is unavoidable in life, right? But they've done a good job in stoking fear, in convincing people that, like, doing anything means your life's over. That's not the case. I would encourage people, again, test your comfort levels, right? If you've never done anything before, go out and do something small. That's why in my earlier streams, like, I would encourage people, if you see someone else doing something, go shake their hand. Maybe go have a conversation with them. Try and befriend them. See if their bravery can rub off on you. Start wherever you're at. Take the next little step and start there. And once you realize, oh, I can do this little thing. I can defend Dalton. I can, publicly show support for him, or I can, post up some stickers myself, or I can go confront a demon and, call chimps for chimping out. Like, exercise that comfort level and keep pushing it and just be braver than you were yesterday. Yeah, it does seem that the guy was seeking out Chud. It does seem he, like, came from out of town to attack Chud. It's absolutely insane that he was charged the way he is. And the guy who attacked him, as far as I know, has received no charges so far. He's sitting in the hospital still, but I don't believe he's been charged with anything. The people who are... Chud should do everything he can to fight legally and through the legal system, hire the best lawyers, do everything he can through that. But don't be delusional. Don't convince yourself that he has any type of shot at a fair trial. There's a safe option here. Everyone understands, just like everyone understood the risk that Chud was putting himself in, everyone understands that there is a safe outcome for this trial. And there is an unsafe outcome for this trial. If Chud is found not guilty, there will be riots, there will be violence, threats will be made against the jurors, threats will be made against the lawyers, threats will be made against the judges. There is a lot of reason and motivation for even a normal American, not even a leftist who wants you dead, but a normal American, to convict Chud and say that he is guilty. And right now, there is no reason for anyone to do the opposite other than principles and relying on average, everyday Americans to risk their life, risk their city, risk all of these things over principles is a long shot, to say the least, right? Something that I don't think... I'm going to try and address this very directly. I've talked about it a little bit before. The judges and the DAs in this country pose a problem that have no legal solution to them. You have these judges, you have these DAs, levying charges like they are against Chud, doing everything they can to manipulate things. It's absolute insanity what these judges and these DAs are doing, and they have absolutely no reason to stop doing it. They will face no consequences through the legal system. They're not going to lose their job. Nothing is going to happen to them. They are free to do whatever the fuck they want. That has been very thoroughly demonstrated. They can be as insane as they want to be, and like the best case scenario that we can hope for through legal means is that a more sane judge comes after them and undoes some of the damage that they've done. But there is no stopping them from doing this damage in the first place. There's no getting them fired. There's no removing them. There's no imprisoning them. They will not face consequences through the legal system. And unless they have motivation, unless they are given a reason to stop this behavior, it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. And they will be given no reason through the legal system. The justice system, the judicial system, is not going to punish these judges. It is not going to remove these judges. They are not going to turn on themselves, right? Other judges aren't going to, go after them because they don't want to open that up. Judges are untouchable in this country. They have been for a very long time, and they want to maintain that. Even the decent ones, right? It's like the thin blue line, but it's the thin judge line, the thin gavel line, right? It's simply not going to happen. But they do need to be given motivation to change their behavior. They must be given motivation to change their behavior. And that motivation will not come internally. It will not come through the judicial system. If there was one thing to point to in this country that you should be radicalizing against and putting effort towards, because it is overwhelmingly devastating, the effect that they have on all of this, it would be the judges and the DAs. They cannot continue doing what they're doing without any fear of any consequence whatsoever. And the only consequences they do face, again, are from the leftist mobs, are from the people who want us dead and who are willing to kill, and threaten and harass judges and lawyers and juries and etc. In order to make that happen, right? So the judges are a very, very serious problem. I lost some of my tabs. Not sure where they went. But let me go ahead and show the last few things, make a few more points that I've got pulled up here. And then I do want to talk about the flock cameras and data centers and just a little bit of projection about what fun things we have to look forward to in the future. Here's just insanity. Your money is being stolen from you, and it is being given to the third world invaders who want you dead to give them protection, give them free college, give them free housing, give them free food, give them free everything. Let them live a life of luxury in a country while they try and kill you. The whoopsies. Let's bring in these people who want you dead, who want to take everything you own and kill you. And then let's give it to them. Let's give them all of it. And let's, kill you if you oppose it. If you oppose it, you deserve to die because you're an evil, racist Nazi. In 454 schools across England, white British children make up less than 2% of the school population. In 72 schools across England, there is not a single white British child in attendance. That is the direction we are heading, right? Especially with things like that, especially when states are going, come here, we'll welcome you, we'll provide for you, we'll protect you. In Japan, I think Japan is something like 97% Japanese. They have like 3% foreigner and like 2% of that is like Muslim and third worlder. And they are very significantly feeling the effects of that. Their temples are being burned. Their way of life is being disrupted. The average person in Japan feels the impact from 2% of the population. See, when you get here, you get Sharia law. When you get to England, you're just straight up white women are open season for rape, and you also are the bad person for being raped, and the rapists are the good people and the victims. Like, that's where we are. The separation between us and England isn't like this. It's like, here's England, here's the US, right on their fucking heels. Right on their fucking heels. Right? But even Japan, who's got 2% of a problem population, their entire way of life is already being disrupted. Their sacred centers are being destroyed and burnt. They are facing a crisis over 2%. We've got a fuckload more than 2%. We are fighting an uphill battle, but we must start fighting it, and fighting it very seriously. Get radicalized. Get active. Defend our warriors, right? This guy, I don't know a whole lot about him, but an Oregon police officer was forced to resign after body cam footage leaked where he's heard saying, "Fuck the Somali and Latino communities. I'm about the American communities. I'm about America, son." This guy's fucking based. I imagine he'll probably be able to get a job in another precinct. I hope he is. It's a big country. I would love to say we need to support this guy and do whatever we can for this guy too, and we should. But like right now, Dalton is the primary focus. I don't want to distract from the more important fight at the moment, but this guy's fucking based. I think it's important for people on our side to understand that cops are not our friends. Obviously, this guy's okay. But generally speaking, there was a massive purge, just like with the censorship, where everyone was purged from online. There was a massive police purge around COVID and BLM and the election as well. That purged a lot of the people who would be on our side, and they replaced them with third world invaders that want you dead. And fat white women and third world invaders are now a significant portion of our police force. They are our enemies. They are not our friends. They are not here to help you. They are not here to be on your side. They are here to do what they did to Chud the Builder, to Dalton Etherly, right? So, it is time to wake up to the fact that the system is very actively working to destroy you. If you are playing a game with a bunch of people and every other person is blatantly cheating, blatantly breaking the rules, and you're sitting there playing by the rules, you're guaranteed to lose. You can't keep supporting a system that is openly working against you and openly seeks your destruction. We've got to understand that we have to be able to operate outside of the system. We have to be able to operate outside of the rules. The time for optics, the time for, being a good citizen is over. It is the time for activism. It is the time to defend our warriors. If you think Chud's a retard, if you think his optics are bad, it doesn't fucking matter. Defend him and support him, because you know it'll be a fuckload worse optics than Dalton doing what he did, which honestly was not good. His optics are actually quite good if you actually watch him. Like, he wasn't just antagonizing random people. He was good at what he was doing, and he was going about it the right way. But the perception of the retarded masses, they're not going to watch his content. They're not going to take the time to actually understand what it is he was doing, to realize that he's fighting for them as well. They're just going to assume that he was walking up to every black person he sees and calling him a nigger and hoping to start a fight with them. That is what the perception will be. That's not going to be changed by trying to put a more reasonable argument out into the public than whatever. The only way it might be changed is by becoming more radical, more vocal, more visible, more active, creating a presence that is actually felt in the real world. That is the only thing that will potentially cause some of these people to go, well, hold on a second. Let me reevaluate my opinions here. It's not going to be through calm, reasonable debate. That died with Charlie Kirk. Jake Lang, there's a longer clip of this. There's more footage of this where leading up to this, he's trying to burn the Quran and these people are spraying him and he's like going up to the cops who are just standing there watching this occur. And he's like, they're spraying me. They're assaulting me. Like, that is assault. Are you going to do your jobs? Are you going to do your jobs? And they're like, nope, go fuck yourself. And then they come up and they themselves start spraying him. The cops are not your friends. The cops are not your friends. They are your enemy. Do not make the mistake of thinking they're your friends. It is fucking insane. It is fucking insane that doing this, standing up to Muslims, burning their Quran in front of them, going out and, doing this kind of shit, this guy's risking a lot. This guy is risking a lot. Everyone fucking instinctively knows that this guy was not risking nearly as much as Dalton was. People are looking at this, and I know, I'm sure a lot of people are afraid that something bad will happen to this guy. Yeah, Slav, I see that opinion a lot. Jake Langowitzestein is an instigator who LARPs as a Christian. I don't fucking care. Is this the type of shit we should be doing? If he was a good Christian and he was doing the exact same shit, would you be supporting it? I would be, so I support him. This is fuck the infighting. It is time for unity. Support. I don't fucking care. Support your warriors. This guy's fighting for us. This is necessary. Things like this are necessary. But the point that I was making is it is fucking insane to go up against the Muslims who are known for their violence, who are known for beheading people and stabbing people, and to see this and to also know that while yes, he is putting himself in great danger here, he is risking a lot here, that Dalton, by simply confronting niggers for being niggers, was risking way more. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that what happened to Dalton was going to happen to Dalton. I'm not sure. He might be able to get away with this for a hell of a lot longer. He might never have the same thing happen to him. He's risking a lot, but it's not a guarantee here. It was guaranteed with Dalton. That's fucking insane. And the fact that so many people have become so conditioned. And again, I apologize for my last week's stream because I was struggling with my thoughts and allowed a little bit of that to creep into myself even. But it's crazy how many people have been so conditioned to just accept the nigger menace that is within our society that they're like, no, you just have to let them do that. You have to let them assault white people. If they're offended, of course they can attack you and kill you. And of course you can't defend yourself. Really highlights the importance of Dalton. It really highlights the bravery of Dalton. Support him. Defend him. And hey, look, if you are convinced, if you are like Slav and you're convinced that this guy is not on your side, that's fine. Don't fucking counter signal him. You don't. If you are convinced that this guy's bad and you don't want to support him, fine. Don't attack him. Don't tear him down. He's doing more than you're doing. I know that for sure, Slav. How many Muslims have you confronted? So like, even if there is something, because maybe Slav's right. There's a world where potentially this guy somehow is working against us. I personally don't see it. When you're doing shit like this is the shit that needs to be done. But if you are convinced of that, stop fucking counter signaling. Stop fucking attacking him. Just let him do what he does then. Just let him do what he does. And if he is an enemy, he'll expose himself. And if he's not, then that will also be exposed, right? So stop the infighting. Stop tearing down people who are trying to fight for you. If you're convinced this guy's bad, just shut the fuck up about it. That's my honest advice. Just shut the fuck up. crazy story here. I'll let you read the subtitles while I talk about it a little bit. Guy in Germany being one of the most cucked countries in the world, gets stabbed in a random attack. The guy was released the very same night. The guy who stabbed him was released the very same night. He was then made a citizen of Germany after the stabbing. This guy had to flee Germany. This part's the craziest part. So the judge dropped the attempted murder charge because he wasn't actually murdered. If you weren't actually murdered, how could it be attempted murder? And he goes, he stopped stabbing you at some point, so he wasn't really trying to kill you because he stopped and you're still alive. The reason he stopped is because the knife literally fucking broke because he couldn't stab him anymore. There was no more knife to stab with. So it wasn't attempted murder. It's just the judge. Our judicial system, this will become the norm here too, in short order. If we do not find a solution to the judges and the DAs, and there is no solution through the judicial system. This is just about the Muslims in New York taking over Times Square, taking over Brooklyn. This is the heart of America. Greatest city in the world. How long before we have Sharia law in New York like they have in England? Especially with Zohran Mamdani. You know, that fuck. Yeah, I think it'll be very short order before you're openly allowed to rape white women in New York, and the women are the ones who get punished, and the rapists are the victims who need our help. Okay, moving on to this is just to show you how insane the censorship can get. Like in Germany, it's literally illegal to give a 3-star review to a restaurant that says it was fine. I'm gonna guess maybe this was like a minority-owned restaurant. I don't know that for certain, but it's very easy to imagine a world here in America where we reach that point where like it literally becomes illegal to, you know, give a negative review to like a minority business. That is what our future holds if we do not get active. So I do want to talk about Flock, and I want to talk about what our future holds. That's a good jumping off point. Okay. Oh, hold on. Hold it. There we go. All these data centers are being built. I don't know exactly what the purpose of them are. It's an astronomical amount. It's an amount that it's really difficult to try and imagine what the purpose of this all is. I do have some ideas, which I'll touch on later, but now I want to stick with less speculative things. Flock cameras are going up everywhere. In the link in the description, there's a link to dflock.org that maps out where all of these flock cameras are. I meant to talk about this last week. It is time for a little mischief. There are many ways you can deal with these flock cameras. You can get a paint sprayer, you can get a laser that can fuck up the camera. You can get a saw and chop down the poles. You can, I think the most creative and funny way I've seen is a dude got a trash can and a drone, and he flew the drone and dropped the trash can on it. That's not really a great solution because all they have to do is remove the trash can. But it was kind of funny. And hey, once the trash can's on it, now you can approach it and do whatever the hell else you want to do with it because it can't see you. But yeah, get creative. There's a lot of different ways you can create some mischief. And I encourage it. It's not... We don't want the Chinese social credit system to be implemented here. But it will be. And I think it's coming much sooner than most people think. And I do want to make clear that even without the flock cameras, the infrastructure is already there. The infrastructure is already here in America. Even ignore the phones in your pockets that have their cameras and everything. Ignore the flock cameras. We have all of the Ring cameras, all the doorbell cameras. We've got cameras on businesses. We've got cameras on stoplights and traffic cameras. We have the infrastructure to implement a Chinese-style social credit system today. We have not only that physical infrastructure of the cameras and the recording, but like China, with a much larger population and a significantly smaller amount of data centers, is able to track every fucking person every second of the day, calculate every little behavior they did. Oh, you just threw that, Kleenex onto the street, -5 social credit points for you, right? You've reached the threshold. Banks are shut down. Your social media is shut down. You're locked out of your apartment. Your car won't start. We have the ability to do that in America right now, even without the flock. We are building up even more infrastructure. And we're building immense amounts of data centers, which leads me to speculate that not only will we be implementing, this Chinese social credit score system, but we'll be taking it to the next level. This will be real Minority Report type shit, And I think even more speculatively, because the amount of the data centers is truly an insane amount, they might be trying to create personalized realities for everyone. And what I mean by this is that, right now we all have our algorithm. We all see certain things and other people see other things. And there's already plenty of bots online leaving comments, padding views, shifting, perceptions. But imagine that you have enough AI power and enough data centers that you can tailor make a reality online for each individual person. And you have the computing power for the AI so that it can localize and, build. While yours might be slightly different from your neighbor's, it's also not so radically different that it creates issues, and so it can run all of the algorithms of the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right? And figure out who you might run into and moderate all of this in real time and create false realities for everyone. Individualized personal realities. And the only way this would ever be exposed is if you somehow went outside of the bounds of this AI that's got solid predictive abilities, because it's got your entire history of your movement through your phone tracking, your GPS and everything else. It knows where you go. It knows who you interact with. But if you ever did say, just I'm just going to drive to another state and start knocking on doors and ask them to compare their Twitter feeds or whatever the fuck, that could instantly be isolated and shut down, and no one else on the internet would ever hear it. It would never escape containment. So it's this is actually, I think, a much more possible future than it might sound on first pass. I don't know what else that level of computing power would be required for, other than something like that. Because even monitoring every single person calculating their social credit score, doing the things that they're doing in China, and even taking it a step or two beyond China, it doesn't require even a fraction of the proposed amount of data centers that they want to build. So that's a little bit of speculation, but the social credit system, the monitoring, the flock is here. Flock is rapidly expanding. They do want to do that. That's not speculation. That is just a matter of when. And I think if we get another Democrat president, I think very, very soon. I think very, very soon. And I think even potentially you could see Trump try and roll it out in the next couple years. I don't think that'll be the case, but it's not out of the question. You know, he could go, hey, we need this to track the immigrants, to track the invaders, right? It's not good. You don't want absolute surveillance. We cannot allow absolute surveillance. Needs to be resisted. Fires are effective. You know, we saw that Dutch town. That's all I'm saying is they burnt down the facility, and pretty sure the third world invaders aren't going to be living in that facility if it no longer exists. So, the ticks and glyphosate are the last points I want to make. Along with the points I was just making, they are currently spraying from planes massive amounts of glyphosate over farmland, over wildlands. They're dropping millions of ticks that are very likely infected with alpha-gal and Lyme disease and who knows what else. They are trying to make it impossible to be self-sufficient. They are going after, people who've had a farm in their family for the last 150 years. They're shutting those down. They're destroying them. They're turning the land against people who want to go out and live in the wilderness. They are trying to funnel everyone into, dense population centers where they can be monitored by the flock cameras, where they can be on a social credit system, where they are entirely reliant upon grocery stores for their food, where they're completely unable to go hunt, where they're unable to grow their own food, so that they can just, hey, your social credit's getting a little low. You're not going to be able to buy food if you keep behaving badly. We're going to starve you to death. We're going to, shut down your car. We're going to do all of these things. They are, Waco. I don't know how much you guys know about Waco, but that was done very deliberately. They murdered all of those children, all of those people. They tortured them before murdering them. They murdered them in a brutal way. And they did that to send a message. You are not allowed, the one thing you are most not allowed to be in America is self-sufficient. And they are aggressively trying to make sure that no one ever is again, so that you are all dependent upon these factory farms, the lab-grown meat that you have to buy in the store, that you can't grow yourself. They do not want you living out in the woods. They do not want you growing your own food. They don't want you doing any of these things, and they are happy to sacrifice, the earth and nature itself in order to accomplish those goals. It has never been more time to be active. It has never been more time to be radicalized. Do not concern yourself with the opinions of sheep that want you dead. Become the wolf. Support Dalton. Defend Dalton. I'm wrapping up the show, but I am going to read through the chat, see if there were any ideas for how to support Dalton, see what people are saying. But only concern yourself with the message you're sending to other people that get it. Help them get it. Don't concern yourself with the people who want you dead, because they're going to want you dead no matter what. Don't concern yourself with optics. Concern yourself with activism. Concern yourself with being braver than you were yesterday. Do not infight. Don't attack Jake Lang. Maybe you don't like him. I don't care. Shut the fuck up about him then. Let him, if he's an enemy, let him expose himself, and then you can, tear him down. But right now, he is being braver than, I assume, most, if not all of you. He is fighting an important fight. We cannot allow these Muslims to take over. We cannot become like England. We already have, Minneapolis and other areas that are Dearborn, Michigan. They're fucking gone. It's a Muslim state now. Good luck existing over there if you're not. Don't counter signal. Don't infight. Offer a little bit of forgiveness. Not too much forgiveness, right? Don't forgive your enemies who want you dead. Don't forgive the cucks who are counter signaling Chud, who are going, oh, it's bad optics. Help them change their mind. If they can change their mind, do offer them that forgiveness, right? Be understanding. Not everyone is going to be as based as you are. Help them become more based, but don't waste your time on lost causes. Do not waste your time on lost causes. And just unite. Become tribal. Stand up and fight. Thank you. I'm going to read through the chat, and then I'm going to peace out. So let me check the chat here, see what you guys are saying. He only told the truth. That was his crime. Absolutely. That's why the DA set his bail 50 times the average for such a case. Absolutely. Civil courage. Yeah, that's a good term. I like that. Have some civil courage. But also, those Dutch people, they weren't being too civil. Hey, look, if you're not even displaying civil courage, I encourage you to start displaying civil courage. If you're willing to maybe display a little uncivil courage as well, like those Dutch, I will support you. I will have your back. I will encourage other people to have your back the same way, I'm doing with Dalton. We desperately need to build support systems. We don't have 1 million people to go march in Tennessee. We should, and we should be working to build that, right? And Dalton won't be the last person that's made an example of by this corrupt justice system. He won't be the last victim of the judiciary. And while we need to do everything we can to support Dalton right now, we also need to be planning for the next one. We need to be prepared for the next one, to give even more support, to be even more organized, to be even more ready for the next one. But yeah, show some civil courage. Show up outside of the courthouse. Hold some signs. Be prepared for the niggers to act like niggers. Carry your gun. Carry your pepper spray. And, react. Don't instigate, but be ready to react. And be ready to react. Don't be like these faggots. I keep bringing up this video of the guy holding the sign saying trans women are men and getting attacked by the troon because it's not a unique video. I could pull up 1,000 videos exactly like that, where every fucking time these people attack and they don't defend themselves. They run away and they cry and they refuse to press charges and they refuse to just beat the shit out of these fucking demons. So don't be like that. Be like Dalton. React, don't instigate, and actually be prepared to defend yourself and to react appropriately. The guy went mace me, and Chud said he's chimping out, and then he assaulted Chud. Yes, that is what I have seen as well. Hopefully we get the actual video of it, but so far all of the witness reports corroborate that. Oh God, you're watching from Germany? I'm sorry. I am sorry. I don't want to become like Germany. He says they already lost all this freedom stuff long ago. They did. I don't even know what I would recommend people do in Germany. They're fucked. England is pretty fucked as well. I had one of the tabs I had open was this massive march. They had like 1 million fucking people marching against the third world invasion like this weekend. And that was really good to see. I wanted to show that and promote that. The tab disappeared somewhere. I lost it along the way. But yeah, things like that are going to be much more difficult once we have this constant monitoring system and social credits system. I mean, Chud's bank accounts were shut down and locked after he stole from the restaurant, right? That's only going to happen increasingly so. Oh, you went out and protested? Well, no more bank account for you, no more car for you, you know. So we need to stop these things. We need to become radicalized before we become Germany. I don't want to be Germany. I feel bad for that guy who is in Germany. Do not allow us to become Germany. We don't have a lot of time. My worst case scenario is 3 years before we are fully in that type of situation. My best case scenario is about 11 years. Best case scenario. That's without us, you know, taking action. With us staying on the course that we currently are. I'd say 3 years before it really, like I was talking about earlier, there are cases that are made examples of, that are plastered all over national news, that get a lot of attention, that are designed to discourage people from taking action. But that is not the standard response yet. I'd say we have about 3 years before that does become the standard response, before it is fully just 100% absolutely tyrannical here in America. It's already quite tyrannical, but we got to get active. We got to get active quickly, because I don't want to become like Germany. CL Burns, I can't disagree with you at all. We have allowed this. Men have been cowardly. And that is why I ask people, I don't expect anyone to go become as brave as Dalton was tomorrow. That's like asking someone to jump to the moon. I do ask you to be braver than you were yesterday. We all have to start somewhere. Many of us are cowards. And we can't change our past, but we can change our future. Start being braver than you were yesterday. And tomorrow, be even braver than you are today. And just keep pushing that. Keep exercising your bravery. Keep expanding your bravery. Find people to be brave with you. Bravery and fear are contagious. Find the people that'll stand alongside you, and you can egg each other on, and hey, find allies. Build locally. Yeah, if Chud does have a gay past, I don't care. I truly don't care. I'm done with attacking people who are fighting for me. Chud risked everything for all of us. Dalton is a fucking hero. And I don't give a fuck how many cocks he might have sucked in the past. It could be 1 million. He could have sucked 1 million fucking cocks. I don't care. I back Chud all the way, no homo. I am standing firmly behind Chud. I am firm behind Chud, no homo. Yeah, I remember Daniel Penny. The judges, the DAs, they are a problem that we need to find a solution to, that I don't believe a solution exists to within the judiciary system itself. Right now, I work from home, shop from home, homeschool my kids, literally don't talk to anyone, trust no one, and I'm nagging regardless because I'm a white woman. Sucks dick, actually. creating self-sufficiency for yourself, creating independence is great. I recommend people do, if you can find a way to provide for yourself through your own company or from working from home or whatever, if you can homeschool your kids, I encourage all of those things. The only thing I would also encourage is do try and get out into the world. And I understand you've been conditioned to, it's better. It's better at home. It's safer. It's more comfortable. You don't have to deal with all of the insanity of the world. And the world is unbelievably insane right now. It is unbelievably insane. And avoiding all of that is much more comfortable. It is much easier. And you don't have to throw yourself into the depths of the insanity, but do try and get out there. Try and find other people like yourself. Try and build connections with other people who get it, who also want to avoid the insanity. Imagine, right now you're all on your own, and it's great that you're self-sufficient. It's great that you're independent. Imagine having a coalition of self-sufficient, independent people who are all willing to help each other and able to help each other and are all working together. Right? So start building. I understand why you're in that position, but start building. Start finding allies. Seriously. I'm not knocking you for hiding away, but you do have to start finding allies. Yeah, I'm aware of archetype theory, and I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, and that's why I'm just going to shut the fuck up about him. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and say anything negative about him at all. And I think a lot of what he's doing is good. I think a lot of what he is doing is helpful. I applaud him for a lot of what he's doing. Like I was saying last week, even though I said a few retarded things, I said some good things as well. And it's like there are different avenues. There is space for different approaches here. People who are taking archetype theory's approach, I'm not discouraging them. I encourage them. Continue doing that. Good for them. They're helping in their own way. They've got their own comfort level. I hope they continue to push that comfort level, just like I hope you all continue to push your comfort level. But having a little bit of understanding, a little bit of forgiveness, and offering space for people who are taking a different approach than you to take that approach, let them. Focus your energy on destroying the third world invaders, on destroying the woke, on destroying and fighting the people who want you dead instead of the people who are fighting to help keep you alive. Yeah. And I did mean to spend a little more time on the stickers. One final point that I wanted to make, I talked about how we have no real leadership on the right, and we don't. Another huge problem, though, is that we have no symbol. We have no symbols to unite against, or unite us, not against, right? But you look at, COVID and BLM and all this bullshit. The masks were a very powerful, very effective symbol. It sends a signal to everyone, right? The BLM flags, the fag flags, they have all of these symbols to to unite them. We don't really have any. The closest we've got is the American flag, and that's kind of becoming gross and corrupted, right? This is what's happened to every fucking symbol we've ever had. Turning Point USA was building some real momentum, and they killed Charlie, and then literally the next day, literally within 48 fucking hours, they started bastardizing everything that Charlie and Turning Point USA stood for. They started going, we're all for the Jews, support Israel, don't, everything that Charlie stood for, they fucking destroyed it, they bastardized it. So you can't even walk around with a Turning Point USA shirt anymore and actually have a uniting symbol that people are going to be like fucking pumped about. Same kind of thing is happening to the American flag. I mean, it's still probably the best we've got, but we need symbols, we need visuals, we need to be able to signal to the people around us that, hey, there are people out here that support this shit. Like, we need flags that we can fly on our home, flags that we can walk down the street with. We don't fucking have them. And I when I was discussing this previously, I said, maybe it's time to embrace the Nazi symbols. I don't like it. I still don't like it. And it's not even an optics thing. Not the way that you're, obviously there are optic issues with that. But it's like the Nazis were defeated and eliminated from this world. There were no Nazis for a very long time. Hitler's been dead for like 80 fucking years. He's not a martyr in the sense that, like, when a martyr is killed, there's an immediate response. There's an immediate reaction. There is an uprising that happens because of the death, and that's a martyr that people get behind. That's not what Hitler is. He's been dead for like 80 years. And so have the Nazis. And so it's like, it's far from ideal. It's far from ideal. But we need, I always wanted a new symbol to rise up, a new movement. And they've very effectively worked to destroy those and discredit those, like Turning Point USA and others. So we really need some symbols. I was a big fan of the It's Okay to Be White campaign. Big fan. Still a big fan. Still think slapping up stickers saying it's okay to be white and posters and all that kind of shit is certainly better than nothing, right? But we really do need some kind of symbol that we can unite behind and around and like visually display to each other. Hey, look, let's literally show our support. Let us literally show our support by, whatever. And I guess you could make an It's Okay to Be White flag or something, but it we are lacking that symbol. We really need one. Yes, we do owe it to the world to not allow it to fall to communism after destroying Hitler in Germany. We're failing at the moment. Let's turn it around. People are discussing homeschooling options and stuff. Do that. Help each other. Support each other. Make connections. Make friends. Find allies. I'm going to go ahead and sign out, fellas. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Please, seriously, if you feel like you can't do anything else for Dalton, one, rack your brain. Think about what you can do. I understand it's kind of unreasonable to like ask people to take time off of work and to fly or drive to Tennessee. Like, it's a hard ask. If you can do that, I really encourage you to. But I understand that is asking a lot. But the very least you can do is support him financially, give to his Give, Send, Go. Even if you are paycheck to paycheck, like, sacrifice something in your life. If you're a smoker, stop smoking for a month. Sacrifice a little bit of something if you can. Look at what Chud was willing to sacrifice and just try and help him out. Every little bit helps. If you can only give $5, then only give $5. If you can afford more, try and do some more. But it is incredibly, crucially important to support Chud. If you do think that Chud is bad optics, understand that Chud losing this case, that the right not supporting him, the right not being active and showing that there are people out there who have his back, that will be a million times worse optics. So even if you think Chud is a retard, even if you think he is bad optics, even if you disagree with his approach, you have to understand that you have to support him. You have to support him. So please do. Peace out, fellas. Take care.
Day up and chimping, they'll fin the chimp out. Hip hop and pimping, they'll shift you from crowds. Going to get triggered if nigger you shout. See how they always chimping out. Then Chud the builder said stop lying down. Don't let them kill you and take all your town. They'll slash your sister, then walk cause they brown. See how they always chipping out. Don't got much reason and a frontal cortex. Your mother is next. If you resist, you're racist. In California, they're welfaring around. See how they always chipping out. It ain't no colors that's defining use. We're all just fellas, we all get to blues. It ain't black versus white, we've been divided by Jews. Oy vey, they show us smarts and outs. Just see Calergy cackle with glee. Your family trees, leaves grow, Negro. Now California's spreading around. See how they always, see how they always, see how they always chimping out.